Imagine waking up in Washington, D.C., and discovering that the President of the United States is demanding the return of the death penalty, right here in the nation's capital. A city where executions haven't happened in more than 40 years. A city that outlawed capital punishment back in 1981 and has never looked back. But now, everything could change. Because President Donald Trump isn't just talking about crime. He's talking about power. And he says he's willing to do something unprecedented, something no president in modern history has dared to try. He says he'll declare a national emergency to force the death penalty back into D.C., even if the city doesn't want it. This isn't a movie plot. This isn't fiction. This is happening. But here's the terrifying part. If a president can override a city's laws with the stroke of a pen, what's stopping him from doing it anywhere in America? Stay with me because this story gets darker, more intense, and far more dangerous than anyone expected. Trump made his intentions clear. Washington, D.C., Chicago, New York City. He says local leaders have failed their citizens. Violent crime is out of control. And his solution? Federal power. Federal punishment. Federal executions. His words were chilling. If the local governments won't protect their citizens, then the federal government will. But here's the catch. Washington, D.C. has proudly rejected the death penalty for decades. And for Trump to bring it back, he would have to bulldoze through one of the city's deepest political principles. And that's exactly what he's threatening to do. Now pause and let this sink in. A national emergency. Not for a war. Not for a pandemic. Not for a natural disaster. But for executions. That alone should stop you cold. Because the moment a president declares a national emergency, the rules of democracy begin to shift. Power consolidates. Normal checks and balances bend. And if he succeeds in doing this in D.C., it could set a precedent unlike anything we've seen in American history. Think about it. What if the president can erase local bans not just here but across the nation? What if he decides other cities are failing too? Could the federal government walk into Los Angeles? Philadelphia? Baltimore? Could Washington suddenly dictate punishment, policing, and justice in every major city, no matter what local citizens want? This is no longer about just the death penalty. This is about whether your city, your state, your community can resist federal power when it comes crashing down. And make no mistake, the country is already splitting in two over this. Supporters cheer. They say enough is enough. They believe violent criminals laugh at soft laws, and only the ultimate punishment will send a clear message: commit murder, and you die. But critics? They're terrified. They say this is a dangerous test of power, a power grab that could rip away local authority. Some legal scholars warn this could spark a constitutional crisis, a direct clash between local governments and the Oval Office, a fight that could end up in the Supreme Court. And in the middle of it all, the people of Washington, D.C., caught in a battle they never asked for. Imagine the families. Some who've lost loved ones to violence are desperate for justice. They want harsher punishments. They want someone to act. But others fear this will only add to the cycle of bloodshed. That executions won't heal wounds, they'll deepen them. Every step Trump takes here doesn't just impact laws. It impacts lives. Real people. Real families. Real consequences. And here's the question that keeps people up at night. What if Trump actually pulls this off? What if the President of the United States successfully overrides the will of an entire city and brings back executions against its will? If he can declare a national emergency to enforce the death penalty, what's next? Could a president one day declare an emergency to control your city's policing? Your schools? Your freedoms? That's why this fight isn't just about crime. It isn't even just about punishment. It's about the raw struggle between federal power and local democracy. And right now in Washington, D.C., that struggle is hitting a breaking point. So here's where we stand. Trump wants the death penalty back in Washington, D.C., whether the city agrees or not. He says he's ready to declare a national emergency to make it happen. The only question now is, can he? And if he can, should he? Because the fight over life and death in America's capital is no longer just about crime. It's about democracy itself. What do you think? Should the president have the power to override local laws on something as serious as the death penalty? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading every one of them. And if you want to stay ahead of breaking stories like this, hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Because trust me, this story is only getting started.